Imagine holding a map in your hands, ancient and mysterious, drawn at a time when most of the world still believed the Earth was flat. A map that doesn't just show familiar coastlines, but also regions that, according to official history, hadn't been discovered yet. A map that seems to hint at knowledge that was once known, and then lost. This isn't a legend or a myth, but a real artifact, the Piri Reis map. Created in the year 1513 by an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis, this map continues to baffle historians and scientists to this day. How could a naval officer from the early 16th century have detailed knowledge of coastlines that, supposedly, weren't charted until centuries later? And where did he get his information? The map was rediscovered in 1929 in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, drawn on gazelle skin parchment. It depicts parts of Western Europe, North Africa, and the eastern coast of South America. But what truly propelled the Piri Reis map into worldwide curiosity and controversy is its southernmost section. There, many believe it depicts something that simply shouldn't be there: the coastline of Antarctica without ice. Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820th, over 300 years after the map was made. And even if someone in the 16th century had theorized the existence of a southern continent, how could they possibly have known what it looked like beneath the thick sheet of ice? Piri Reis himself noted on the map that his work was based on around 20 older charts, some of which dated back to the time of Alexander the Great. This is striking, as it suggests that he was drawing from a long lineage of geographical knowledge, possibly handed down from civilizations long forgotten. In the annotations on the map, he claimed that some of the sources came from the time of Columbus, but others were far older, even ancient. But who made those maps? And how did they gather their information? Some scholars argue that the coastline identified as Antarctica is merely a misinterpretation, a distorted extension of South America drawn with the limited knowledge of the time. But others see something more. In the 1950s, an American naval cartographer named Charles Hapgood studied the map and came to a remarkable conclusion. He believed the map not only showed Antarctica, but that it portrayed the continent as it would appear without its ice cap. Hapgood theorized that this could only be possible if the information had come from much older maps, made when Antarctica was still ice-free, which would mean they had to be tens of thousands of years old. His ideas were so provocative that even Albert Einstein expressed interest, writing a foreword to Hapgood's book and supporting the notion that we may be rediscovering knowledge from a lost chapter of human history. Hapgood proposed that a highly advanced civilization once existed on Earth, long before our known historical records begin. A civilization that had mapped the world using sophisticated methods, centuries, or perhaps millennia, ahead of their time. His theory, now known as Earth crust displacement, suggested that the outer layer of the Earth had shifted, moving entire continents into new positions. If true, parts of Antarctica may have once been ice-free and habitable, making the existence of ancient maps far more plausible. It may sound like science fiction, but this blend of geography, cartography, and mystery is exactly what makes the Piri Reis map so compelling. Some even speculate that this civilization could have been maritime in nature, with a deep understanding of ocean currents, wind patterns, and stellar navigation. A seafaring people who traveled the globe and recorded their knowledge on scrolls, skins, or stone tablets, only to vanish through time, leaving behind fragments for us to rediscover centuries later. If that sounds far-fetched, consider how little we truly know about the ancient world. Archaeological surprises happen regularly, and the deeper we dig, the more we find that history is far more complex than we once believed. Of course, not everyone agrees. Many historians point to inaccuracies on the map, errors that suggest it's not a product of advanced knowledge but a collage of the best guesses of the time. Some areas are misaligned. Some coastlines are exaggerated or misplaced. The idea that the map shows Antarctica is dismissed by many as wishful thinking. They argue that it's far more likely Piri Reis simply continued the shape of South America southward, not knowing what truly lay beyond. And yet, the details continue to fascinate. The map shows rivers, mountain ranges, and bays along the South American coast with surprising accuracy, features that weren't fully explored or documented until much later. How did Piri Reis draw them so well if he'd never been there himself? And why do certain portions of the map seem to reflect projection techniques, as if the original creators understood the Earth's curvature, something we didn't master until much later? Some believe the Piri Reis map is one of the few surviving pieces of evidence that our understanding of history is incomplete. That once, long ago, there were people with astronomical, navigational, and geographical knowledge that rivaled or even exceeded our own. Cultures whose wisdom was lost to natural disasters, conquest, or the slow erosion of time. This idea isn't new. It resonates with myths of Atlantis, of Lemuria, and of other ancient, forgotten worlds that might have once flourished and then vanished. What makes all of this so intriguing is that we simply don't know for sure. There is no definitive proof, but there's also no conclusive debunking. The map exists. Its features are real, but the interpretation depends on how far you're willing to stretch your imagination, and how open you are to alternative histories. For some, the Piri Reis map is a fascinating relic. For others, it's a doorway to a past we've chosen to forget. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. Perhaps Piri Reis was a brilliant compiler, gathering scraps of knowledge from ancient scrolls, oral traditions, and lost documents. Perhaps some parts of the map are based on accurate sources, while others were drawn with a fair amount of speculation. But even then, the question lingers. Who created the original maps? Who first traced those coastlines? Who had the skill, the tools, and the motive to create such a record? History is not always linear. Time and again, human civilizations have lost knowledge, whether through war, disaster, or decay. The burning of the Library of Alexandria, the destruction of indigenous knowledge in the Americas, the countless texts lost to time in Asia, Africa, and beyond. It's not so far-fetched to imagine that ancient maps, once widespread, were destroyed, buried, or simply forgotten, and that the fragments which survived, like those used by Piri Reis, hold clues to a richer, deeper story. Ultimately, what the Piri Reis map shows us is that there are still mysteries left in this world. In an age where satellites orbit the Earth, and every inch of the globe is mapped and measured, this centuries-old chart challenges us. It asks us to reconsider what we think we know, to acknowledge that the past may still hold secrets, waiting patiently to be revealed, that even something as simple as a map can shake the foundations of history and stir the imagination. Maybe we'll never uncover the full truth behind the Piri Reis map. Maybe it will always be a puzzle, half artifact, half enigma. But that's what makes it so captivating, because in its faded lines and curious notes, it whispers of forgotten ages, of explorers who left no names, of worlds not lost, but hidden. It dares us to keep asking questions, to keep searching, to believe that somewhere buried in old libraries, etched into stone or locked in time-worn parchments, the answers might still be out there. And perhaps, just perhaps, someone will find them.